Welcome in, Chronic Hoosier. So he joins us each and every Tuesday. How are you, sir?
In the name of fairness, it's November 8th, but it's okay.
I knew
It's
that
games.
because I've made that mistake twice today now. I
Don't
can't
wish
see
away
even
these
with
beautiful
glasses on,
days
now
while we've got them.
I can't see. Trust me. Even with these stupid readers on, I'm like, what does that say? Oh yeah, it's 8th.
It's like 4 days before we become Arctic again. So let's enjoy these days while we've got them.
Oh my God, it's falling off, baby. You talk about it falling off the shelf. Thursday is it. It's just like the abominable snowman's just walking through here with dropping cold everywhere. Not looking forward to that.
You know, it's dark now. As soon as you get off work, we all go gather in gyms and lose our dang minds, and life is good again in Indiana.
Yeah, I saw this, and this is a great point I wanted to talk about. You pointed out last night, I forget the exact tweet, but it referenced basically having more students down courtside, not necessarily in those money seats, but close to the court. And Indiana has to be one of the only places that doesn't do that.
Now, you know what
place
struck
does
me
not have
last
their
night
students?
Is Moorhead State. They had a couple of guys that were very willing to their detriment to engage the student section, and it very, very obviously got in their heads and affected their play and affected the game and everything else. And I think part of it was just they were so eager to engage with the students. Part of it was just how effectively they got in between their ears. But you travel around the country, and you've got all these famous student sections. You think about the Cameron Crazies.
Fog Allen, yep.
Yeah, Fog, the Izzone, even the Maze Rage for that matter. If you've been to Chrysler, it's a small section. They're coordinated by color at least, but programs make a point of emphasis to put them in camera frame, which puts them in the audible zone around the court, which puts them in players' ears. And Indiana, I don't know where we rank now. We have historically had the largest or one of the largest student sections in the nation, but over the years, the way in which they've kind of divvied up the seats in Assembly Hall,
they cram them into the corner. They cram them into a corner.
They've given them the corner. They've got that one main level. I think it's 2 sections in the main. It goes all the way up to the balcony, and then they pack them in the balcony, which credit to the kids that showed up last night and sat in the nosebleeds, because it was a great crowd up there.
But
what you end up getting though is it kind of neuters them just by proximity to the floor, when the overwhelming majority of your students aren't within audible range, when only a handful of them get in that zone. And it's definitely a decision IU made. Obviously those seats in the lower level are the highest dollar in the gym. It takes quite a bit of priority points to get below the tunnels, and especially down in that lower section of the main level. So I get the dollars, but what I think stood out last night, what prompted that tweet, is when you see just how powerful that gym can be when the students are engaged and they're there in numbers. It changes the gym. It gives the juice that Assembly Hall is famous for. And I think it's a shame that, I'd love to see them. I don't know how you really divvy up the main level, but at least wrap them around one side of the floor, preferably behind the benches, because that's, again, the camera frame. But that's the audible zone where whatever is going on in the stands, it spills out onto the floor. And, Cameron Indoor Arena is about the same size as Seymour High School gym. It ain't that big. The student section is not that big, but they show up, they show out, they get loud. They turn the PA system all the way up, and it keeps the crowd juiced. And it's just part of it. Maybe it's been so long since we last saw it. Part of it, though, is pining for what could be if they would just unleash the beast and find a way to get more kids down in the lower level, get them involved, get them as an integral part of the gym, as it should be at Assembly Hall. Because at the end of the day, man, this is college sports. Those are college students. Let them enjoy it just as much as the Ken-Nuns of the world.
Well, I'll tell you, it's funny. I don't even know why. but I counted, and I can tell you this is not going to happen ever at Indiana unless there was just this big mind change, but because of the money. But I counted now there are about 80 seats around courtside. That's a lot of seats. And where the cheerleaders used to be, they're standing behind those people now.
Yes. Yeah. And you don't even have to give those seats away. Just use the bleachers. Just use the bleachers behind the baskets.
Why not both end zones should be students only.
And those 4 rows, even if you split it, half and half, like it used to be the entire visitor side, that hole behind the basket was nothing but students in the band. Now they've split that up, students on the visitor bench side of the band, and then they sell the other side. But I think if you just took the bleachers, those 4 rows that run along the sidelines, and then half of the behind the basket bleachers on both sides of the floor, make a horseshoe, put as many students as you can there. That way, the people in the main level, your view's not obstructed if everybody in the lower level is standing up the whole game, which I know is a problem they would have to contend with if you somehow split the main level sections up where there were non-students seated behind the students. But put them on the floor, put them in the those bleachers. You can keep the courtside seats for the high dollar donors. Get more kids on the floor and get that gym turned up, because as you saw last night, man, it's a special place when it's live. And again, kudos to the students, not only for showing up, but for putting the whole broadcast on last night. For all the grumbling about the BTN Plus games and the subscription. And I was griping about it yesterday because, of course, my subscription renewed on Sunday when I've got one game left that I really want to see on it. Whatever. But recognize too, those broadcasts are entirely run by students. The talent, the behind the scenes, the production, the cameras, everything is student driven. Not only are those, student athletes out on the floor, that's a learning laboratory for all the media school kids over there. They're going to go on to do amazing things. I thought they did a great job. And, happy I don't have to hear people complain about the BTN Plus anymore. But it's always awesome to see what those kids can do. And I tweeted that last night. Follow them all, because you're going to sit back and watch. And, in just a matter of years, you're going to see these kids leading major network broadcasts all over the country. And invariably, you're going to see a couple of them that ascend, like Trish Whitaker, like Courtney Cronin, like Iman Brennan, like Alex Bozich and Zach Osterman, and all those people that you continue to read to this day. It all started there at Assembly Hall as unpaid student labor, providing great coverage for us.